Good morning to you, Kefiloe. And I think between the chef that we had this morning, the vegan food we've spoken about, we've got our Christmas pretty much settled.
Yes.
But now it comes to that part of the meal that I think everyone's actually waiting for.
Yes,
it's the
definitely.
trifle.
It's the trifle. So this is the new way of making trifle. The way that we know.
Trifles?
Yes. Okay. So when we were growing up, trifle consisted of layers of tennis biscuits with canned fruit, custard normally, and then just continue layering it up until you get to the top. And it's too messy. So over time, we've played around with it at home as well and ended up with this type of a design, which is much neater.
Okay, so take me from the bottom to the top. There we go. You can see my crack camera team busy finding all the desserts for you. So let's talk about this big one here at the back, the main trifle itself. Obviously, everything else we'll get to. It's a peppermint crispy thing. And who doesn't know a Malva pudding?
No one doesn't know my Malva pudding.
Everyone knows Malva pudding and custard. If you've got this all wrong for Christmas, that's the one to go for. But if you're brave, take us through what we've got here. Someone's at home now. They've whipped out their iPad, their notepad. They're like, all right, Kefiloe, how do I do this? How do I impress my family? And go.
Okay, so I started with the jelly at the bottom, added a bit of gin for the adults.
Why does everything in Christmas food have alcohol? It's my favorite time of year.
You have to deal with the family that you don't want.
You've got to deal with the family.
And then I put a bit of berries as well in the bottom and let it set overnight. You can just use instant jelly, which allows you to do it maybe in like an hour or two for the jelly to set. And then you can go for just normal custard. I make my custard from scratch with your egg yolks, milk, sugar, and...
We don't want to mock the instant custard industry, and we're not going to, but if you had to say to somebody, even though you're short on time, should they try and make their own custard, or can you sneak in the big yellow carton?
Just use the normal Ultramel and move on with your life, because it is a mission to make this, and it clamps up quite quickly.
Okay.
So you have to know exactly what you're doing when you attempt it.
And I was very, very rude. I interrupted at probably the worst time when we start getting to the custard. Then we start having what I think is biscuits. What am I looking at here?
So I made a cake sponge, and I put a little bit of raspberry flavoring into it. So that's literally that part. And then you can just crumb it around, and then that allows just a layer between the custard, and then you can use mousse or just whip up some cream for the top and then put berries on top. Oh, and then between the jelly and the custard, I put a lot of fruit as well, just for that fresh flavor.
That's what we can see sort of sticking out. I think we had a close-up on this a moment ago. This is what you're seeing here. You can almost see the berries sticking around in the side of the custard there. So just there it is. You can see this almost looks like black pips, but it's not. It's actually fruit.
It's blueberries.
It's blueberries on the inside. Okay, so before we move on to the other desserts, we were asking Chef Granville earlier, time-wise, a lot of pressure on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. How long does it take to make something like this? You've got to go to the shops, buy everything. Now you're home. How long are we looking at?
If you're going to go with the easy way out, you can get it done in about 3 hours. But just designate one person to desserts, the one that does know how to cook. Put them on the dessert. So about give or take 3 hours, including the time that it's going to sit in the fridge before serving it.
All right, so in my household, I'm the dessert guy, apparently, because I'm not going to get anywhere near the oven. All right, so let's move away from the famous trifle. And these two, I think, are, I want to say, almost very South African. I know that Malva pudding is very, very South African. Let's talk about what I think looks like a peppermint crisp.
Tart.
Is there alcohol in this, isn't there?
No, I didn't put alcohol in
this?
Yes, you can.
What alcohol can I put in this?
So with the creamier desserts, you can go with an amarula. You can go with a Kahlua. I actually thought of putting Kahlua, but because you're playing with caramel, you don't want to tamper with the flavor of the caramel in the cream too much. So sometimes it's better just to keep it simple, but if you want to add a bit of flavor, then you can add the Kahlua.
All right, I think just make sure that you give that one to the adults, not the children. There can be some very upset grandparents as well. And just take us through the ingredients of what I need to do something like this as well.
So with that, I went quite simple. I just used tennis biscuits at the bottom, and then I crushed peppermint crisp chocolate, and then I whipped up cream and added some caramel into it, and then sprinkled some peppermint crisp on the top.
And I imagine this doesn't take any prep time.
No.
Really,
It's quick.
And
it's probably just, you're going to take time making the whipped cream with the caramel, but otherwise it's a quick and easy dessert.
What's quick and easy? I mean, we said 3 hours for this. Someone's taking notes, what, 20 minutes, half an hour?
You can take 30 minutes.
All right, so 30 minutes for that. And then there is the creme de la creme of South African desserts.
Yes.
If you can't get around a trifle, you don't have enough caramel, and you've used all the gin, you can't make the trifle either. You come to what I think could be the staple of South African desserts. The good old, never get it wrong, always a favorite, Malva pudding. And
yes,
custard.
definitely.
Tell me about the Malva pudding. How do you start making that, or do you just buy it?
I don't buy it, but then again, there is the option to buy, because it's not like making cupcakes, you know, where you can just find ingredients online. Well, you can, but it's going to take some time.
All right, so you made this then?
Yes.
Okay, just take us through, if it was Dessert 101, I'm a complete newbie. There's the Malva pudding. How do you make a Malva pudding?
Do you want the ingredients?
Yeah, just briefly give us an idea of if someone needs to go to the shop right now after watching the show, what are they buying?
Okay, so you're getting flour, you're getting eggs, you're getting apricot jam, you're getting a bit of vinegar, which you'll probably find in the house. You're getting a bit of milk, and then you're getting double cream, heavy cream, and then you're getting some sugar as well. You have the option of putting caramel in that or amarula as well. And then you just simmer down the cream after baking the malva. And then once the malva's done, then you pour the cream over it. And
time on that, since we're watching our time so closely?
You can do it in about an hour and a half.
Okay, so we've got something that can take 3 hours, the trifle, the peppermint pudding, the peppermint cream pudding. It's what, you said 15, 20 minutes
about
maybe,
15,
and a good old
minutes.
Malva pudding of 30 minutes. Okay, and I think you've solved all of our Christmas problems. I think you've given everybody enough to think about and how they're going to get diabetes on the day as well, to try and go through all of this. I really appreciate your time coming in.
Thank
I don't
you
know
so
how you're going to get past my technical team. They're all hounding the door the moment you walk out. I appreciate your time in coming in this morning.
Thank you so
and
much.
a Merry, Merry Christmas
Thank
to you.
you.